welcome back. This is By the Book, and we are your married relationship coaches talking to you today about Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode 8, Alexis and Justin. Boy, oh boy, did this go downhill fast. It was like flushing the toilet. This is rough, but I mean, I can't say I'm surprised in any way.
Yeah.
So the episode, if you guys know, if you've seen this already, hopefully you've seen at least a little bit of it. This is the episode where they have the housewarming, bring the friends over, and get a little deeper into some of the issues of marriage.
Yeah.
With no expert help. They could really use an expert right now.
They really can.
But Alexis starts off talking to her friend about the dog incident. Mm-hmm. But she also starts out saying how sweet and lovable Justin is.
She did.
That's the only good thing she said about him this whole episode.
He's lovable and she loves him. Not in love with him.
Right.
But she loves him.
She loves him. So, I mean, it's tough. So, we get into this issue again about the dogs, right? Like, the end.
Yeah.
And me and my husband, we had to pause the TV show and talk about this because she's angry with him. I mean, she's really mad at him because the dog was being given probably antibiotics. Her dog was being given antibiotics. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And apparently Justin was left in charge of medicating her dog. And he's giving the dog medicine on an empty stomach because he's not eating. And then he starts vomiting blood. Mm-hmm. Which she's frustrated about because the medicine label says don't give it to them on an empty stomach, apparently. Yeah. And she's like, why would you do this? And why would you not share it with me? And you're not being open and you're not sharing all the details. You said you were going to overshare and you're not oversharing.
You're being vague.
Yes.
And you're misleading or manipulating.
Manipulative.
Yeah, that's what she said.
And I want to talk about that in just a second. Mm-hmm. But first and foremost, what I want to say is why in the bloody heck are you leaving Justin in charge of medicating your dog who, by your own, tale of the events, he was neglectful in the first place by letting his dog, who's kind of aggressive, that close to her dog anyway. So now he's responsible for his care?
Yeah.
Why? I guess she's working and he's home. Is that,
she works from home too. I don't understand that.
So I don't get it. I think that was a huge, huge misstep on her part. And then she's going to turn around and be angry with him. Mm-hmm. And to be fair, and this is what I talked to my husband about, you can't necessarily always trust a man with like the minutia. Like, he's like, I'm giving him the medicine. She's like, but you can't give it to him on an empty stomach. You can't. Yeah. She should have taken that into her own hands. So for that particular point, I kind of blame Alexis.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I you know what? I totally agree. I kind of get where she's coming from. She's so mad. Not only at Justin, she's mad at herself.
You think so?
I think so. Because she was trusting him to make sure everything was good with her dog. And his dog used her dog as a chew toy. So she's upset. She's mad by that. And not only is she mad, she's hurt.
He's going to fix it she's hurt. By being the caregiver of her dog.
Maybe.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense because you know what? Another thing I don't understand. Maybe you could help me understand this. If the dog hasn't had anything to eat for 2 days, why all of a sudden is it going to start eating medicine? I don't understand that.
I don't know.
If it won't eat food for 2 days, why would the dog eat medicine? But
I don't know. Because maybe it's just something like, it's a little bitty dog. Like, you might be able to hold it and, like, you know how you give babies, like, medicine in a syringe?
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I have no idea. It could be pills. It could be a syringe. It could be a shot in the booty. Yeah. I have no clue how this medicine is administered. Yeah. But I'm just guessing.
Yeah. And then where was the communication between the two? Did she know that the dog hasn't had anything to eat in 2 days?
And that was her issue, is that he was caring for it and he didn't share that with her.
Okay. So where was she? How could she not know?
I don't know. That's her baby, right? That's like her child. You know when your child eats, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't understand it, to be honest with you. And then going into her being upset with him and the little discussion I'm gonna use the word discussion that they had at the candy store or whatever.
So they're setting up. They're trying to get ready for this party. Justin shows up. It's very staged. You know that the production crew brought him there so that they can have a sit down conversation.
Yes.
And
it just continues to get worse and worse and worse. Justin. Actually, she's accusing him. She's talking to him, and accusing him of being manipulative and being vague. And they had this conversation already, and you're still not doing it. You promised me that you were gonna share and overshare, but you're not doing it.
Okay.
And so then he goes in defense.
He did go into defense mode, but he's also in pitiful mode. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm trying. What do you want me to do?" And it's tough for him. Because he is trying, but it's like, I don't know, it's an unsatisfactory effort. I also think Alexis is being a little bit unreasonable. Yeah. But here is why she feels like vagueness is manipulative. Yeah. And we stopped to talk about this as well, just to make it make sense. Because she's kind of treating vagueness globally. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that that's necessarily fair for him in this particular situation. But when men are vague, they are difficult to trust because they're vague about things that can be very important. They're vague and they can be manipulative and they can just flat out be lying, right? Yeah. By omission. Mm-hmm. So the example that I brought up was, say you had your significant other or your husband, whatever the case may be, said to you, "Oh, well, I'm working late today." So they get home at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, but somehow you find out they didn't just work late. They did work late. Maybe they normally work until 5 and this time they worked until 7. But then after 7 o'clock, they went with their coworkers to a bar for an hour and a half. And then he came home at 9 o'clock. Well, now you lied. Like, I'm going to feel like you lied.
Yeah,
that feels manipulative. That feels like a lie. It feels deceptive. It feels like someone who I cannot trust. Yeah. So I think that she's kind of transferring this instance into something like that. And it doesn't have to be about cheating or anything. It's just like the trustworthiness of it. Yeah. However, with this, I don't think it's necessarily fair. For one, I don't think it's something that he did intentionally. I think that she can read that. I think she knows I wasn't trying to do anything wrong. Intention is important in relationships to me. If you can tell me why something happened, why this misunderstanding happened, then I'll feel better than you just saying, I said forget you this day. It makes a difference. It matters. Yeah. So her treating him like he tried to do something wrong is a little bit too tough. Yeah. I think. Yeah. Maybe she's looking for a way out because she's ultimately not as attracted to him as she thought she would be.
Probably. I mean, she does say she likes to run, but she said that she's trying not to run. Mm-hmm. And you're absolutely right. I mean, men are more, when it comes to sharing in general, men are more like a headline type person or people to where we can grab the newspaper, read all the headlines without getting into any details at all. Yeah. And we're just fine with that type of information. Women in general like to have all of the details. Yeah. And that means starting from, okay, how was your day? Start from when you got up out of bed and then work your way down. And so that's the type of information that she's requiring for him to have. Yeah. And he says he's trying, but it's not coming natural.
It is not going to happen overnight. You can't expect someone to go from just giving you the headlines to reading you the full article and all the credits and all of that stuff. Yes. In one day. No. That's just not going, it's not realistic at all. You have to look at the progress and the effort that's being made. So I do take issue with Alexis there. I don't take issue with her if she's just unattracted to him. Behavior-wise, all the crying, his physical, whatever it is, if that's how she feels and she's looking for an out, I get it, whatever. But if she's using this dog situation as a determination as to whether she likes him or is going to stay committed to this relationship or not, I think that's a misstep. That's not really fair.
I agree. And I hope that's not what she's doing. But I wonder if she is beginning to really realize some of his weaknesses, him being very overly sensitive.
Yeah.
And wondering if that's kind of like having to play. But she hasn't voiced it, and she voiced everything.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just reading more into it.
No. She knows it.
Okay.
As a woman, like, she has to know it. She has to feel that as a weakness. It's something that's missing in your man when he doesn't present strength for you. And I don't think that he does. And I know that that's probably an issue that she may not want to speak on because she may not know how to do it in a tactful way. What she considers tactful anyway.
Yeah. One of the things he said when they were arguing at the store is, I was wondering how you kind of like feel about this.
I already know what you're going to say, and it's about to make me mad. Go ahead and trigger me.
Well, maybe it won't. Maybe it's not the same thing. Because he did say something to the understanding that she doesn't want to hear him. She only wants to have her side of the argument, and she doesn't want to hear him. And so it sounded like, to me, it sounded like something a woman would say. Like, you don't want to.
Okay, that's not what I thought you were going to say.
You don't want to hear my truth or whatever. It was kind of like he was trying to say, and it was just like, to me, like, dude.
I didn't take that way. I still took that as a man thing to say.
You did?
Yes, but I felt him on that because she wasn't really trying to hear. She wasn't really trying to see his point of view.
She wasn't.
Or anything.
Yeah.
She just was like, this is how I feel. This is what you're doing. This is what you said you were going to do. She's a very hold your feet to the fire type person in terms of, if you said this, then I expect your word to be bond.
I got that. Mm-hmm.
That is her. So if you can't keep your word with Alexis, it's done. She's gonna check out. If she feels like, if he has more instances of just not living up to what he said he was going to do, she's gonna say no at decision day. I think that it's a no at decision day anyway.
I think so too.
But I think that will run them to know a whole lot faster.
Yeah. Now the other thing I wanted to bring up, and then I want you to tell me
what I thought you were gonna say.
The other thing was, okay, when they were at the party, all his friends are there and her friends are there. And she brings it up that she just got to get this off of her chest or whatever the case may be. To me, that was so disrespectful. Even though when she tried to give the disclaimer, I'm sorry, baby, I didn't say that I was going to do this. I didn't get your approval to say this in front of everybody. He took it very well, but for me, that's a no-go. Don't air our laundry. Even though I know you're on TV, I get it. And I know you have these confessionals that you do this stuff, and I know you talk to his friends, and I get it. But you put the man on spot right then and there with not only the cameras, but people that are close to him and close to you. And so that whole thing could have went a whole lot worse than what it did. Trust me, because I've seen that play out with some people before.
That's tough, though, because what she did was try to allow herself to feel what she was feeling.
Yeah.
Because they were having a party, and we've been there. We've all been there before. And she's trying to host a party. Yeah. But her mood is killed by what's going on. She can't function normally with just this sitting on her chest. Like she said, she's in a bad place. So it's hard. I can tell you, it's hard to be around people and pretend like something is not bothering you, that's bothering you, especially if you're angry. Yeah. So instead of her just moping around and people being like, oh, what's wrong with her? Like, she acts like that's how she acts all the time. Yeah. She's like, look, let me put it out there. We had an argument. She didn't get into the specifics of what it was about, I don't think, until she broke up into the smaller groups, which is pretty much what producers want them to do, right? Yeah. To talk about the specifics, but not necessarily in a group setting. Yeah. But to say, I didn't take issue with it. To say, look, I'm not in a good place. I'm having an issue. She didn't even necessarily have to say it was between the two of them. Yeah. That was, her choice. Maybe it was a good call, maybe not. But just to say, look, I'm off today. I'm having an off day. I don't want you guys to think that there's anything against you or that I'm trying to be a certain type of way. If you haven't been around me before, like for his friends, I'm not normally like this, but I'm having a day.
Yeah.
So please forgive me. And that's how I took it. Mm-hmm. And then, so I didn't take it as negatively, maybe, but I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're put into the spotlight or your issues, the fact that you're having some sort of drama is highlighted in front of company. That can definitely be an issue. But also I want to explain myself if I can't be myself. So
yeah, I do get
it's a
that.
Balancing act.
It's definitely a balancing act, but I have witnessed on several occasions where there's a group setting, a party setting, and one of the couples are not getting along and thought that was okay to begin to air out the dirty laundry like that in front of the group.
There are specifics that come out, and it's a little bit less tactful than what she did. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to talk about this for very long, but what I took offense to was the way that Morgan brought up her issue with Ben. And we talk about that in a separate video, so watch that one as well. But that was not okay to me. What Alexis did was a lot more tactful than what Morgan did.
True that.
So I gave her a pass on that.
Yeah, I just think it's best whenever, if pull that man to the side and say, hey, you know I'm still having a problem. Well, do you mind if I bring this out in front of the group? Mm-hmm. I think that would have been even better. True. More tactful. How about that?
I agree. But if he says no, then
you go sulk.
She's stuck. But you know what I mean? Like, then that's a problem for her. Then she can't be her authentic self. Yeah. So it's a difficult situation. Yeah. Now, what I thought you were going to bring up was the fact that he said, while they were sitting at the candy store and they're arguing, and he's like, well, then I just won't say anything at all. Oh, yeah. I can't stand when people jump to absolutes like that. Yeah. They're not even realistic, first of all. Like, obviously, you're going to say something else. Yeah. And maybe the next time you say something, I should be like, shut up, because you said you wasn't going to say nothing else.
Keep your lips closed.
Right. So it's just an obnoxious way of shutting down during an argument, a very juvenile way to handle an argument. And as much as I feel like she wasn't necessarily being reasonable in terms of what she was trying to stick him to within that argument, I still feel like she was trying to handle it in a better way than that. I feel like he just felt like he couldn't contend with her argument. No, he was like, I can't say anything right. I can't do anything right. Mm-hmm. Every way I turn is the wrong way. So forget it. That's him expressing his frustration. Yeah. But in saying that, that's just a weak argument style. Gather your thoughts and then express yourself.
Yeah, he felt like he was getting attacked. Yeah. And thus he's in defense mode. He's trying to explain things away that can't be explained totally. And so he's in trouble. But here's the thing. He was getting on to her about expressing when she's frustrated with him that she's out of here. I'm done with this, Mm-hmm. And so he's taking it as she's done with the marriage. She's done with the relationship. And so she had to explain to him that that's not what she meant. She meant she's done with the argument. Yeah. But still, there are rules of engagement. And especially for someone like Alexis, who comes from the background of counseling, I would think that she would kind of know some of those things. But yeah, you don't give absolutes on her. She shouldn't give absolutes like that sound like absolutes on her end, and he shouldn't give it on his. Talking about, I
don't know if she has a background in counseling. I know I mentioned that before. I thought she did. I'm not 100% on that. You guys probably know. I know she does something unrelated to counseling right now in her career. Yeah. So, if y'all heard that, if we did just make that up in our heads, please confirm that for us.
Yeah, I could have sworn she said
I thought she did too, but maybe she just said she was in counseling or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, when she said that she was that she's counseled people as far as things, and when he was professing his love and all of that stuff, she said that sounded like a red flag. Okay. Yeah, so that's what we kind of got that from.
I thought I heard it, but then I listened to her say what she was doing presently, and I'm like, maybe I misheard. Yeah. So if you're confident that she's in counseling, that's weird.
Yeah, she had a background in counseling. Yeah. But yeah, I just think absolutes on both ends. Leave him out.
Yeah.
Leave him out.
Yeah, but she explained what she meant by that.
She did.
And then he keeps bringing it up. And that was a frustration point for her as well.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, you're not even listening to me. I've told you more than once. When I say I'm out, I'm talking about out of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So, does she change that? Or does he listen to her and believe what she's saying? I don't know.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Reword it, say something differently. And him get to the understanding to stop being acting like a baby.
It ain't getting better for these two. But
no, it's not.
I don't know what the path to redemption is.
Now, let's jump to the good part before we close this video out. Justin admitted that he tried. He tried to seal the deal, with her, and there was no go.
Yes, and Nate is not going to take. He is never ever going to miss an opportunity to throw some shade Justin's way. It's so funny.
No, he is not. No, he is not. Like, what's going on? You said you down. Now, how come you not down? One of those type numbers. But are you surprised that she pumped the brakes on Justin?
No, because they're having issues. I mean, she may have wanted to consummate before, but I think that she probably finds him unappealing, not masculine, probably not sexy. You saw that dance. That was terrible. Nobody, So, it's I don't even like to use this word, but it's giving me like lame vibes. I'm like, oh gosh. So no, I mean he's kind of off-putting in general, and then to add insult to injury, as soon as they get back from the honeymoon, then her dog's eye gets bitten. Yeah. So now is not the time or place. It's probably even more off-putting if they're going through these issues, and then he's trying to put the moves on because she's like, ugh, like read the room, don't touch me.
Yeah. Poor Justin.
That's what I'm thinking. But I think Nate needs to worry about himself. He needs to figure out how to tag the 9 back onto that 16. He ain't got to worry about what's going on in Justin's bedroom. All right.
I have to excel on that one.
Anyhow, guys, let us know what you think.
Yeah.
We would love to talk about this episode. This might have been the best one so far.
Yeah.
So like, share, comment, please, and subscribe. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.